Next frequently asked question regarding the refurbishment cost of the facilities at the Abbey campus. Some of the data presented here already mentioned regarding infrastructure, specifically HVAC and the roof, and how those have been modernized as a result of the Shepherd Trust and decreased the refurbishment cost significantly of the Abbey facility. Estimates are already completed for that refurbishment cost and have been promised by myself to be discussed with all students, parents, alumni who are interested if the letter of intent should proceed to a contract with the museum, and a presentation is being prepared for that day. Those estimates are based not just on conjecture but on real work that has been completed. And a new lecture hall and model classroom with adjoining hallway has already been constructed at the Abbey facility. Improvements on our existing lecture hall and classrooms, and that work was completed for under $70,000 when you consider that we have 28 classrooms to refurbish with adjoining hallway, and given that the most expensive room to refurbish in the school is the lecture hall, given some unique construction and technology that's included within, and square footage requirements as well, the $70,000 figure to complete those two facilities within the school and adjoining hallway is a significantly higher average than it would be to refurbish any other pair of classrooms or academic facilities at the Abbey. So it's not difficult to extrapolate a refurbishment cost solely for the academic facilities from that number. However, we have a much more complete and detailed analysis and projection developed, which we'll be sharing with the community very soon. 7 of every $8 of proceeds from the sale of the school would go towards the refurbishment of the current facility, completely eliminating the $2.7 million debt and growing the operational reserve of the school. What is an operational reserve? That is a cash on hand reserve account that is maintained by all private academic institutions for dark days, meaning an avian flu outbreak or any other measure or event like a fire or something of that nature that would temporarily stop the inflow of revenue to the school. That operational reserve allows for the school to continue in operation during said dark time. Many schools maintain a standard of 180 to 365 days of operational reserve. Benedictine maintains some reserve now, but not adequate for one of those terrible events should one of them ever happen again in the future like it did in the 1980s. The sale would allow us to grow that operational reserve to preserve and safeguard Benedictine education for another 100 years in Richmond. Frequently asked questions on the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts and Goochland County. Perhaps the most important bullet on this slide in the entire presentation is that continuous operation of Benedictine is guaranteed in the letter of intent and potential contract with the museum, meaning that if the relocation of the school were delayed for any reason, political reasons or construction reasons, that the school would continue operation at Shepherd Street for another year or whatever time to be determined to facilitate the school move. So there will be no break in our academic or athletic offering in any year. We are working with the Goochland County officials for a smooth transition to our new facility. The use of the Memorial Gym on Belmont Avenue is guaranteed through the 2014-15 school year. So if all goes as planned and the school relocates in school year 2012-13, not only will we continue to use the Memorial Gym next year, but for another 2 years after the move to allow for a capital campaign and construction of our new field house at the Abbey campus. The Virginia Museum, why they are such an attractive buyer for the property. While folks understand that in any real estate transaction there are multiple buyers interested in a piece of property, not all buyers intend to use the property in the same way. It's important to our community that the buyer of the property on Shepherd Street is interested in the historical component of the architecture here, in its aesthetic beauty, and in preserving that in their plans for usage. And the museum appreciates the value of those things and plans to use the current structures for exhibit display, exhibit development, and storage while maintaining those same structures. Next frequently asked question on the tradition of Benedictine. Tradition is critical to any timeless institution. The tradition of the Catholic Church is one that has preserved it for millennia. That tradition within Benedictine, whether it be the core nature of the school, all boys, military, and Catholic, is important, as well as other traditions that are more specific to the school itself in its structure, meaning things such as the senior stairs, relationship with St. Gertrude's, and others. Those traditions must be and will be preserved so that the Benedictine heritage and sponsoring the Band of Brother relationship between our alums continues for another century and beyond. The mission of the school will remain the same, and its core values. Besides the interior traditions and the nature of the school, the aesthetic is also important. Signs and symbols are important in our liturgy. It says so in our catechism. The iconic symbols of Benedictine include the bell tower, the memorial gym, and even our classrooms, which after the fire and the reconstruction of the school preserved the exterior brick exposed on the inside of those classrooms. In the development plans for the new academic facility at the Abbey, the refurbished facility, we intend to recreate the bell tower, which is our iconic symbol. We intend to recreate the exterior and interior aesthetic of the memorial gym in our new field house, while expanding our offerings mentioned earlier. And as well in our classrooms, reminding students that they are part of something that transcends them beyond just their own class, but back to generations that walked the halls of Benedictine before them, so that they feel connected to those men and cadets of years past. Frequently asked questions about a capital campaign. Will one need to be conducted? Yes, it will. What will the purpose of that campaign be? One, to resurrect our bell tower, our beloved bell tower at our new facility. To build our new field house. Some long-term goals, not short-term, but on the wish list would be to field turf our football athletic field there, which allows for the accomplishment of multiple sports on one space, and provide a more marketable, attractive offering for future students, and to grow Benedictine's endowment. The endowment provides the financial aid offering of the school on a yearly basis, which allows us to preserve the culture and climate of the school. And the last frequently asked question slide on the timeline of the school's relocation. In 2011-12, we would execute our final year at our Shepherd Street site and move during the course of the spring and the summer. 2012 and 13 would be our first year at the Abbey campus. 13-14 would be the last year where we would continue to use the Memorial Gym on Belmont Avenue. 14-15 we would open the new field house on the Abbey campus, and 15-16 would be the first four-year graduates of our facility in Goochland. In conclusion, to quote Thucydides, one of the early historians covering the Greek period of history, we should remember that one man is much the same as another, and that he is best who is trained at the toughest school. Benedictine is an amazing school with a rich tradition, which must and will be preserved. It must be a Catholic school, must be a military school that serves boys and provides opportunities for the growth of leadership to serve not only Richmond, but the Commonwealth and our nation. Benedictine will be one of the top educational institutions in this country. We have great opportunity and challenges that are in front of us in the years to come. What's important is community interaction, and that folks who have questions about the potential relocation, the timeline for that relocation, refurbishment cost, and any questions out there regarding the tradition of the school and how it will be preserved, that those questions are answered. And what I ask our community is to consider this plan thoughtfully and humbly, and consider its intent of delivering that education that we love for another 100 years of cadets and beyond. Thank you for your time in listening to this presentation, and your thoughts and feedback are welcome at school.